vital for all life. Sadly, even water that looks pure may be polluted. Recent studies show that 80% of streams in the United States are contaminated with a mixture of chemicals, and over 90% of fish tested have pesticides in them. These chemicals can hurt and kill creatures that rely on water to live. So, where do these contaminants come from? The things we make, use, and throw away. Prescription and non-prescription medicines go through our bodies, water treatment plants, and into the watershed. Pesticides and herbicides that we use on farms and lawns wash into waterways. Agricultural chemicals also evaporate into the air, as well as chemicals in industrial smoke, which can travel thousands of miles and come down with the rain, polluting otherwise pristine environments. Even the chemicals that we use in our homes and communities flow into the environment. Oil and gasoline from cars go from roads to gutters to bodies of water. It takes millions of barrels of oil a year to produce plastics. As they break down, they release chemicals and tiny particles into the environment. Some of our personal and household products, such as soaps, cleaners, and fragrances, also go down the drain and end up in our streams, lakes, and ponds. The things we discard may be out of our sight and out of our minds, but not so for the creatures that live downstream. What's in your water? Amphibians live all over the world. They have amazing adaptations to their environments and hold an important place in the ecosystem that we all share. They are a vital food source for many predators, and they provide a number of important benefits to people. From controlling insect populations, to helping advance medical discovery, to providing a chorus of sounds that mark the summer months. Because they live both on land and in water, and due to their sensitive skins, amphibians are considered indicator species of the overall health of an ecosystem. Amphibians have permeable skins that help them hydrate and breathe, but also make them susceptible to environmental changes. Air, water, and even contaminants can easily enter an amphibian's body through its skin. Nearly half of the world's amphibians are declining or are threatened with extinction. Some scientists believe chemicals are playing a role. Chemicals such as flame retardants, fragrances, pesticides, and medicines can directly and indirectly deform and kill frogs. Even chemicals that don't directly kill frogs can lead to increased parasite infections that also cause deformities. We recreate in and drink water from the same sources that frogs call home, and we share many of the same genes. Do these frogs' deformities indicate possible human health risks? What is going on with all the frogs? Amphibians all over the world are dying at an alarming rate. It is the largest documented extinction crisis since the demise of the dinosaurs. There is a complex web of factors affecting amphibian declines, including global climate change, habitat loss, invasive species that prey on or compete with amphibians, disease such as chytrid fungus, and chemical contamination. In laboratories, scientists study chemicals individually, but in the real world, chemicals can interact and cause unpredictable effects on amphibians. With knowledge that we've gained from scientific studies, let's see what can happen when we add contaminants to the environment. Here is the home of the spring peeper. Pesticides that run off lawns, golf courses, and farms mix together and can kill tadpoles. Without tadpoles, there can be no frogs. Nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen, which come from fertilizers and cow manure, run off of lawns and stockyards into nearby ponds. They can increase parasite populations, which can lead to limb deformities. A malformed frog like this cannot escape predators or hunt for food. The water that comes out of water treatment plants is not as clean as you think. Did you know that medicines make their way through our bodies, water treatment plants, and into the environment? One common drug, estrogen, can turn male tadpoles into females, which are therefore unable to reproduce. How long can a species last if it is not reproducing? Many amphibians lay their eggs in ephemeral ponds. An ephemeral pond is one that dries up soon after spring. Metals such as copper and mercury that come from mining and industrial pollution retard tadpole development so much that when ephemeral ponds dry up, tadpoles aren't developed enough to leave. Based on what we know, it could be a bad outcome for frogs when all of these pollutants mix in the environment. How can we learn more about chemical contaminants? Humans use more chemicals now than at any other time in history. But we know very little about the long-term effects of chemicals in our environment. Fortunately, scientists like Dr. Rick Relier and his crew are trying to learn more. They study the health of amphibians and wetlands at Pymatuning Laboratory of Ecology in Pennsylvania.
Here at the Pymatuning Lab of Ecology, we are trying to understand how chemicals impact amphibians and their environment.
This is a really big challenge. There are about 80,000 chemicals registered in the United States, and we know very little about their effects on amphibians. Dr. Relier's team has discovered that many common pesticides can be highly lethal to tadpoles, especially when tested under natural conditions. Even chemicals that don't directly kill tadpoles can indirectly kill them by wiping out their food source.
Normally, scientists test one chemical at a time, but the reality in nature is that chemicals exist in mixtures.
Think about it. Chemicals come from many sources, including farms, factories, and households. They all flow downstream to make one complicated chemical soup. If there are about 80,000 registered chemicals in the United States, how many possible combinations does that make?
In some of our work, we have found that chemical mixtures can kill up to 99% of amphibians at very low concentrations. Our society has become very dependent on chemicals because they produce an awful lot of benefits for us. One of the challenges, though, is to understand what some of the unintended costs are to both humans and to our environment.
We need to know more about how chemicals impact our world. But we do know that we should reduce the amount that we put into our environment and that we should keep chemicals out of our water sources. What can you do to help improve the environment that frogs and humans inhabit?
Hop to it.
Everybody has a chemical footprint. You have one, I have one, even cars and factories have them. A chemical footprint is the mark we leave on our environment when we make, use, and dispose of chemicals. You may not realize how many choices you make each day that affect your chemical footprint. Here, 7th graders Amber and Yuri will show you how to make your chemical footprint a little smaller.
Hey!
When you throw old medicine down the toilet, it ends up in the watershed where animals live. If your local pharmacy does not accept them, take a used baggie, add coffee grounds or kitty litter, and your old medicine.
To it.
Zip it up and put it in the trash. Many of the cleaners that we use at home are toxic. They too enter the watershed when washed down the drain.
Ew.
There are some really inexpensive and environmentally friendly alternatives for cleaning your home. Here's an example. Take about 3 cups of hot water, 2 teaspoons of borax, a 1/4 cup of vinegar, a 1/4 cup of phosphate-free dish soap. Stir it up. Shazam! For the price of 1 bottle of brand name cleanser, you can make 21 bottles of this. And it's safe for you and the environment. Power plants and refineries give us energy and harmful pollutants. One simple way to save energy is to line dry your clothes. An organic gardener does not use chemical pesticides. He or she pulls the weeds instead. Organic lawns are safer and more fun.
Not that I know of. Miss Johnson was pretty nice about it. Yeah, she's usually like that.
Encourage your friends and families to drive cars and boats with lower emissions. Biking is a fun and healthy alternative to driving places. Many of us use plastic grocery bags for just one trip, but plastics take hundreds of years to break down, and as they do, they release chemical contaminants into the environment.
Paper or plastic?
Neither.
A canvas bag can be used again and again.
Hop to it.
Buy less stuff. Before you just throw something away, ask yourself whether you can repair it, reuse it, or recycle it. The less stuff we use, the less stuff we need to make, the less toxic byproducts we have to live with.
Hop to it.
The biggest way to reduce your chemical footprint is to be educated. Investigate what you buy. Ask questions about the ingredients in your personal products and make wise decisions because your health and that of the environment is up to you.
What's your chemical footprint?
¿Qué es tu marca chemical?
Think about your chemical footprint and the many ways that you can make it smaller. Not only will it benefit you, but the frogs will thank you too.
To it. Hop 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 to it.
Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit,
Hop.
ribbit, ribbit.